Part 1: The Echo of Stars. The stars have a peculiar way of speaking to me. They hum, they taunt, they whisper secrets I'm often too stubborn to understand. Tonight they seemed more restless than usual, flickering like a faulty reactor, urging me to venture deeper into the cosmic abyss. I was aboard the Eclipse, a freighter that had seen better days, her hull scarred by spacefaring mishaps and cosmic debris. My crew, a ragtag bunch of misfits, was all I had to keep my sanity intact on the endless journey through the abyss. "Captain Mason," squawked the voice from the comms, filled with static and impatience, "we're approaching the Serpent's MAW anomaly. You sure about this?" I chuckled, knowing full well that doubt was the perpetual companion of any captain worth his salt. Doubt is just the universe's way of keeping us on our toes, Harper. Stay sharp. The Serpent's maw was a cosmic enigma, an anomaly in space that even the top brass at the coalition of planets couldn't comprehend. Swirling nebulae of iridescent gases surrounded it, a sight simultaneously mesmerizing and terrifying. Rumor had it ships that ventured too close never returned, but the promise of secrets hidden within was too tantalizing. The Eclipse shuddered as we breached its outer rim, the engines groaning in protest. I stared out the viewport, heart thumping against my ribs like a caged beast, as the swirling colors danced with reckless abandon. "All systems stable," I barked, more a reflex than a question. "Aye, all systems green," came the reply from Tessa, our engineer with a penchant for unorthodox solutions and a dry wit that could erode a planet. Navigating through the anomaly felt like threading a needle in a hurricane. The controls were sluggish, as if the maw itself was wrapping its tendrils around us. Harper, my helmsman and a former hotshot racer, was muttering curses under his breath. "You know, Harper, if swearing could fuel engines, we'd have a battleship," I quipped, trying to lighten the tension. He smirked, eyes locked on the holographic display. "Wouldn't be much of a fuel source given how often you curse us into situations." We all laughed, tension easing just slightly, though the humor evaporated as a sudden jolt threw us off balance. The Eclipse veered violently, alarms blaring like startled banshees. "Status," I demanded, gripping the armrest as my senses clawed for balance. "We're caught in some kind of gravitational well." Tessa's voice crackled through the din, spiced with urgency. The ship lurched again, and I felt the sickening pull of an invisible force dragging us deeper into the maw. My pulse raced as I fought to keep the ship steady. A gut-wrenching decision loomed, one that could seal our fate. "Divert all power to the engines," I ordered, though the very act could fry our systems and leave us adrift. Tessa hesitated a moment that felt like an eternity, then complied. The Eclipse roared with newfound ferocity, breaking free from the maw's grasp, but not without cost. Circuits sizzled and popped, throwing sparks like a solar flare, and the lights flickered ominously before stabilizing. We had escaped barely, only to find ourselves face to face with an impossibility, a colossal structure, silent and brooding, floating within the heart of the maw. It was a megastructure of alien origin, a labyrinth of glass and metal that seemed to pulse with an alien heartbeat. It was both beautiful and foreboding, like a siren beckoning us closer. "Well," Harper drawled, shaking his head in disbelief, "there goes our quiet night." We approached cautiously, the enormity of the structure dwarfing us in a way that was both humbling and unsettling. I opened a channel to the rest of the crew. "Prepare for boarding. Whatever's in there, we're going to find out." Tessa and Harper joined me at the airlock, a mixture of fear and excitement apparent in their eyes. We donned our suits, checked the seals, and stepped into the unknown. The interior of the megastructure was a marvel of alien engineering, corridors lined with luminescent markers that seemed to react to our presence. The air was breathable, the atmosphere rich with a strange but not unpleasant scent, like fresh rain on alien soil. As we moved deeper, I couldn't shake the feeling we were being watched. I shared my unease with Tessa, who simply replied, "If there's anyone here, let's hope they're friendly, or at least not too hungry." We reached what appeared to be the control center, a vast chamber filled with holographic displays and interfaces that defied comprehension. In the center, a pulsating orb floated above a console, radiating energy that tingled against my skin. "That's different," Harper muttered, his awe tinged with trepidation. I reached for the orb, a part of me screaming that this was madness, but my curiosity was too strong. As my fingers brushed its surface, the room came alive with projections, planets, stars whole. Galaxies unfolding in a cosmic ballet. It was a map of the universe itself, pinpointing the Serpent's MAW as its hub. But then the lights dimmed, and a shadowy figure emerged from the far corner of the chamber, its form shifting like liquid shadow. The creature was unlike anything I'd ever seen, its eyes glowing with an ancient wisdom, its limbs twisting in strange, fluid motions. It moved closer, its presence both threatening and oddly calming, as if it meant no harm but would brook no foolishness. "Welcome, travelers," it spoke, its voice resonating in my mind rather than my ears. My heart skipped a beat. Hi there, we're just, visiting, didn't mean to intrude." The alien, if it was indeed that, regarded us with what could only be described as patience. "You seek knowledge, yes. Many come, few leave." I swallowed hard, a bead of sweat trickling down my brow. "And those who leave." The creature's gaze intensified, a flicker of something akin to amusement crossing its features. "They carry the burden of choice." Before I could ask what it meant, the structure shuddered violently, the lights flickering in distress. "An intruder approaches," the alien announced, its form dissolving into the shadows once more. The comms crackled to life with an urgent message from the Eclipse. "Captain, we've got company, unidentified ship inbound." I glanced at Tessa and Harper, fear and determination mirrored in their eyes. The stakes had just climbed a notch, and I knew whatever decision I made next would not only affect our fate, but might ripple across the stars themselves. And so we ran, every step echoing with the weight of the unknown, racing back to the Eclipse as the universe conspired to test us yet again. Part 2: Shadows of the Cosmic Sea ***. The corridor stretched endlessly before us as we sprinted back to the Eclipse, each footfall echoing with a mix of dread and adrenaline. We didn't speak. Our breaths were shallow and quick, minds racing far faster than our weary legs. The alien's warning echoed in my head, mingling with our own pressing reality. An unidentified ship closing in, and we were in no shape to deal with hostilities. We burst through the airlock and into the Eclipse's cockpit. The hum of the ship's systems a familiar comfort even as alarm klaxons wailed their siren song of impending danger. "Talk to me, Sam." I barked at our communications officer, her fingers a blur over the console. "It's a frigate," she replied, her voice taut with tension. "Fast and armed to the teeth. No ID, no comms, just barreling straight at us." Harper slid into his seat, hands dancing over the controls. Evasive maneuvers. "Let's not wait for them to introduce themselves," I agreed, strapping in as the ship lurched to life beneath us, engines roaring with the fire of barely contained energy. With a deftness that belied the Eclipse's aging frame, Harper swung us around, the frigate looming in the viewport like a predator's shadow. They were close, too close, and I could almost feel the weight of their gaze on us, a silent threat that spoke louder than any weapon. Tessa's voice crackled in my earpiece, hovering between urgency and resolution. Shields are up, but they won't hold against sustained fire. We need an exit plan, and quick." As if on cue, the frigate's cannon spat fire, the first volley clipping our shields with a teeth-jarring jolt. I glanced at the holographic map still glowing at my console, heart hammering in a wild rhythm. The aliens' map, an intricate tapestry of celestial bodies, revealed a small, uncharted portal not far from our location, a potential escape route or another path to ruin. "Harper, plot a course for these coordinates," I ordered, sending the data to his display. His eyes widened at the sight. "A wormhole?" he questioned, eyebrows climbing skeptically. "Isn't that just gonna dump us in another mess?" "Possibly," I admitted, a wry smile playing at my lips despite the circumstances. "But it's better than certain annihilation." Harper nodded, his trust in me an unspoken bond forged through countless trials. The frigate fired again, their intent clear: disable, not destroy. Whoever they were, they wanted us alive, for reasons we could only guess at. The Eclipse shuddered under the impact, but Harper held his course, nudging us toward the portal. The very fabric of space shimmered before us, a swirling maelstrom of light and dark, hesitating on the brink of the unknown. "Brace for jump," Harper announced, his voice a thread of steel through the chaos. We hurtled forward, the universe blurring into a kaleidoscope of stars and shadow. For a heartbeat, everything was suspended, a moment of pure, exhilarating terror, before we were flung out the other side, into the tranquil expanse of a forgotten sector. The sudden silence was deafening, the chaos behind us momentarily forgotten as we drifted in the embrace of a cosmic void. "Damage?" I asked, heart still racing from our narrow escape. "Some systems are fried, but nothing we can't patch up," Tessa reported, already moving to assess the extent of the damages with practiced ease. Sam chimed in, relief softening her features. "No sign of pursuit, we're in the clear for now." I exhaled, tension bleeding away like air from a breached hull. This part of space was different, the stars here subtly wrong in their alignment, casting their light in shades that felt alien to my senses. We were truly somewhere new. "Scan the area," I instructed, curiosity piqued despite, or perhaps because of our brush with disaster. Harper adjusted the sensors, eyes narrowing at the results. "Captain, you might want to see this." On the view screen, a vast structure unfolded, an orbital station, ancient and colossal, drifting serenely amidst the stars. Unlike the megastructure we just left, this one bore the scars of age and conflict, its hull pockmarked and shattered in places, yet still somehow clinging to life. "We've hit the mother lode," Harper commented, a mixture of awe and caution threading his voice. "If there's anything valuable left, this could be a gold mine." I nodded, the allure of discovery outweighing the risks. "Prep for docking. Let's see what secrets this old beast has to offer." As we approached, the station loomed larger, its derelict beauty a testament to time's relentless march. We docked at a battered hangar, our arrival unsettling the quiet sanctuary with a soft thrum of energy. The airlock cycled open with a hiss, the stale air of the station greeting us like the breath of a long-forgotten tomb. The halls were dim, lit by flickering strips that cast eerie shadows at every turn. I led the way, Harper and Tessa close behind. ND, our footsteps echoing like solitary whispers in the void. "Watch your corners," I cautioned, the silence oppressive and unnerving. "We don't know what we're dealing with." We moved deeper into the station, our path illuminated by the occasional flicker of ancient screens displaying alien characters and equations, their meanings lost to time. The station felt alive in a way that was unsettling, as if it was aware of our presence. We reached a vast chamber that opened up like a cathedral, filled with rows upon rows of stasis pods. Each one glowed faintly, and as I drew closer, the truth hit me like a meteor storm. These were not just pods, they held life. Inside each cocooned vessel lay a creature unlike anything I had ever seen. Their forms were diverse, some with crystalline structures, others with shifting hues like living liquid. But one thing united them, a sense of dormant potential. "What in the stars is this?" Tessa whispered, her voice tinged with awe and trepidation. "A relic of a forgotten age," I murmured, feeling the weight of history pressing down on us. This place, this graveyard of possibilities, held the keys to knowledge beyond our imagining. But as I stood there, a gnawing fear crept in. What if awakening them was an invitation to chaos? Before I could ponder further, the lights dimmed once more, and a voice, resonant and haunting, filled the chamber. "Welcome to the Ark," it intoned, carrying the weight of millennia. "Choose wisely, for every choice has its consequence." The words sent a shiver down my spine, the choice looming large and irreversible. In that moment I realized the stakes had never been higher. The future, not just ours but perhaps the entire universe's, rested on the decisions we would make here, in the shadows of the cosmic sea. Part 3. Veil of the Unknown Asterisk. Silence wrapped itself around us again, a cloaking shroud punctuated only by the distant hum of life support systems. The voice, its echo fading, left us with its cryptic charge: choose and suffer the consequences. I swallowed the dry lump in my throat, eyes scanning the rows of stasis pods as if expecting them to spring to life. Harper glanced at me, disbelief and intrigue battling behind his eyes. "So, we just activate them and hope they don't decide we're breakfast." "Let's not jump to conclusions," I replied, though his sentiment was a reflection of my own fears. "This place is ancient. Whatever happened here, it's left the inhabitants in limbo. But why?" Tessa stepped forward, her tools ready as she approached the nearest pod, examining its controls with a scrutinizing eye. "These systems are still operational," she marveled, fingers dancing over the alien interface with a practiced grace. "I can attempt a partial activation, maybe get us some answers." "Do it," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. The weight of our predicament hung heavy, the choice as inevitable as a dying star's collapse. Tessa manipulated the controls, and a soft hum filled the air, light spilling from the pod as the occupant slowly awoke. The creature was exquisite, a lattice of glowing filaments woven through a shimmering crystalline form. It emerged slowly, cautiously, as if testing the air for threats. I took a tentative step forward, raising my hands in a gesture of peace, hoping it recognized universal signs of non-hostility. Its eyes, multifaceted and glimmering with the wisdom of ages, locked onto mine. I felt a twinge of connection, a bridge forming across the vast gulf of understanding. "Can you understand me?" I asked, voice pitched low. The creature regarded me for a breathless moment before a voice, gentle and resonant, filled the space. "Yes," it replied, its intonation musical and alien, yet hauntingly familiar. "I am Eller, last of the Luminaris, caretakers of the Ark." "Where are we?" Harper queried, curiosity threading through his caution. "And what happened here?" Eller's gaze shifted, a shadow passing over its luminescent features. "This station is a sanctuary, a refuge from a time of great upheaval. We gathered those endangered by the war that shattered galaxies, preserving them here until the universe was safe once more." I glanced at the dormant forms within the other pods, the pieces of a long-buried puzzle falling into place. "And now, what happened to the others?" "The universe moved on, forgetting the cries of the lost," Eller intoned, sadness threading through its words. "We waited for the call to awaken, but our caretakers never returned." A chill crawled down my spine at the enormity of their plight, an entire civilization forsaken in slumber, and now we stood upon the precipice of choice. We heard a voice telling us to choose. What did it mean? Eller's eyes dimmed slightly, an emotion akin to hesitation rippling through its crystalline form. The decision to awaken the Ark's inhabitants carries with it the burden of consequence. Some will seek peace, others vengeance. The balance of power, once disturbed, could ripple across the stars. The gravity of the choice loomed before us, a moral quandary with no easy answers. I turned to my crew, their faces mirroring my own uncertainty. "What do you think?" I asked, valuing their insights as much as the wisdom of the universe itself. Tessa spoke first, her gaze steady. "If there's a chance to rebuild something good, isn't it worth the risk?" Harper nodded, though his eyes held a trace of skepticism. "We're already in deep, might as well see it through." I considered their words, weighing them against the unknown repercussions. Eller watched, patient and inscrutable, the keeper of a legacy that spanned untold millennia. Before I could voice my decision, the station shuddered, a deep rumble echoing through its ancient corridors. Alert lights began to flash, not in warning but in urgency. "We've got company," Sam's voice crackled over the comms, tension sharp as a knife. "Looks like the frigate managed to track us through the wormhole." Panic sparked, yet I tamped it down, focusing instead on the situation at hand. "Can we hold them off, Harper?" He shook his head grimly. "Not in our current state. We're sitting ducks if they decide to attack." Eller's form shimmered with a sudden intensity, understanding sparking between us. "This vessel has defenses, but they require activation. The decision is yours: fight or flee." The stakes were clear and time was not on our side. The consequence of awakening the Ark was yet unknown, but so was the price of inaction. My heart pounded, the rhythm of urgency driving my thoughts. "We fight," I declared, a surge of adrenaline sharpening my resolve. "Activate the defenses and prepare for the worst." Eller nodded, moving to a control panel with unhurried grace. Light S flared to life, ancient power thrumming through the station as dormant systems awakened. Outside, the frigate appeared, a dark silhouette against the stars, its intentions unmistakable. The station's defenses engaged, lances of energy streaking out to meet the threat, the void alive with the dance of battle. Harper was at the helm, his hands a blur over the controls, guiding us through the chaos with the finesse of a maestro conducting a celestial symphony. And then, against the backdrop of destruction, I saw it, a signal from the Eclipse, a beacon of hope amidst the storm. We had an opening, a chance to survive the onslaught that bore down upon us. "Harper, get us out of here." "Tessa, prep the jump drive," I ordered, my voice steady, calm, the eye in the storm. The Eclipse surged forward, breaking free of the station's embrace as the frigate reeled from the unexpected assault. Behind us, Eller watched, its form radiant with a light both ancient and hopeful, a promise of dawn after the longest night. As we slipped into the safety of another sector, I knew the fight was far from over. The burden of choice still weighed heavily, but so too did the prospect of new alliances, untapped potential, and perhaps a path to redemption. The universe was vast, its stories endless, and our journey had only just begun. Part 4: Fractured Horizons. The bridge of the Eclipse was a cacophony of relieved sighs and buzzing activity, the crew bustling to assess damages and recalibrate our systems after the frantic escape. The viewscreen displayed a tranquil starfield, the quiet aftermath of chaos. We were safe for the moment, but the specter of the frigate lingered in my mind like a shadow poised to strike. Eller's presence aboard the Eclipse was a beacon of otherworldly light, its crystalline form casting prismatic reflections across the walls. I found comfort in its silent vigilance, an ally in our journey through the vast unknown. "Captain, we're getting a strange reading," Sam announced from her station, her voice tinged with curiosity. "It's coming from the planet below." I turned toward the viewport, where a verdant world hung suspended amidst the stars, its surface swirling with lush greens and deep blues. It seemed a mirage of serenity, a stark contrast to the turmoil we'd faced. "What do you make of it?" I asked, moving to stand beside her. "It's faint, but there's definitely a signal," Sam replied, adjusting the sensors. "Like a beacon, but older, it's ancient." "Another relic," Harper guessed, though his tone carried the fatigue of our recent ordeal. "How many more of these things are out here?" "Let's not find out the hard way," I replied with a dry smile, though curiosity tugged at me like a gravitational pull. "Set a course for the planet. Let's see what secrets it holds." The descent was smooth, the Eclipse slicing through the atmosphere with a grace I was grateful for. We landed in a clearing, surrounded by towering trees that swayed gently in the breeze, their leaves whispering secrets only the wind could decipher. Tessa, Harper, Eller, and I disembarked, the ground beneath us firm yet alive with an energy I couldn't quite place. The air was rich and fragrant, filled with the earthy aroma of life unfurling in vibrant hues. "This place feels different," Tessa observed, her eyes scanning our verdant surroundings. "Alive in a way that's almost conscious." Eller moved forward, its form shimmering in the dappled sunlight. "This planet is old, a cradle for life myriad and manifold. The signal we seek is a key, one that unlocks paths long forgotten." "Always with the keys and paths," Harper quipped, though his jest was tinged with earnestness. "Let's just hope this one doesn't lead us straight into a trap." As we trekked through the forest, the path led us to an ancient stone structure, half buried in foliage, as if nature had reclaimed it as its own. Vines coiled around its weathered stones, and symbols etched into the surface glowed softly, pulsating in harmony with the planet itself. Eller approached the structure, its presence reverent. "Here lies the nexus, a convergence of energies that bind the universe in harmony." I watched as Eller extended a hand, a radiant aura enveloping the stones. The symbols flared to life, casting a warm, golden light that infused the air with a sense of peace and belonging. The ground beneath us trembled, not in warning, but in invitation. The light coalesced into a portal, an iridescent veil that shimmered like liquid starlight. Within its depths, I glimpsed worlds beyond imagining, each teeming with possibilities that whispered of adventure and intrigue. "Is it safe?" Tessa asked, though her gaze was filled with wonder, the same awe that pulsed through every fiber of my being. Eller nodded, its form glowing with assurance. "The portal leads to the heart of knowledge, a sanctuary where answers may be found." I stepped closer, the call of the unknown too compelling to resist. "Let's see what's on the other side." With a deep breath, I crossed the threshold, the universe shifting around me in a dance of light and shadow. My crew followed, their trust as solid as the ground beneath our feet. We emerged into a vast chamber, its ceiling arching high above us, studded with luminescent crystals that bathed the room in a gentle glow. In the center stood a vast library, shelves carved from living stone, filled with tomes and artifacts that defied description. The air thrummed with knowledge, a symphony of whispers that beckoned us to explore. Harper let out a low whistle, eyes wide with admiration. "Now this is something. Never thought I'd see a place like this." Tessa wandered toward the nearest shelf, her fingers brushing the spines of the ancient books. "This place holds everything. Histories, technologies, entire worlds stored within these pages. Eller's gaze swept the chamber, its presence infused with a sense of purpose. Here lie the truths of the cosmos. The paths you seek are within your grasp. As we delved into the library's treasures, I felt a growing certainty that this place was the key to our past and future, a bridge connecting what was with what could be. Yet, even within the sanctuary of knowledge, the shadows of uncertainty lingered. We had found a temporary refuge, but the stakes were as high as ever. The frigate's pursuit, the choices we'd made, and the paths we'd taken converged here, wrapped in the mystery of possibility. In this place of revelation, I sensed the first stirrings of a new destiny, one that promised both peril and promise. And so we began our exploration, guided by Eller's steady presence and our own relentless curiosity, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The universe was a tapestry of stories, and we had just started unraveling its threads. Part 5: The Keeper's Gambit Asterisk. In the heart of the crystalline library, time seemed to stretch and bend, each moment wrapped in the serenity of discovery. Eller guided us with a purpose, weaving through the labyrinth of knowledge with the grace of a cosmic conductor leading an orchestra of ages. Here, Eller gestured, its crystalline fingers hovering over a pedestal at the center of the chamber. Upon it lay a singular artifact, a sphere that pulsed with an inner light, its surface etched with intricate patterns that shifted like the night sky. As I approached, the sphere responded to my presence, the glow intensifying to match the rhythm of my heartbeat. I hesitated, a whisper of instinct urging caution, yet the promise of revelation was too potent to ignore. "Is this the key?" I asked, my voice reverberating softly in the vast hall. Eller's gaze remained fixed on the sphere, an intensity in its features that spoke volumes. "The sphere of continuance," Eller replied, each word deliberate and measured. "With it, one can glimpse the threads of destiny, past and future intertwined." Harper arched an eyebrow, the skepticism evident in his tone. "You're saying this thing lets us see the future. Sounds a bit too tidy." "Not see," Eller corrected, its form subtly shifting with the weight of its words. "But understand. The sphere reveals possibilities, not certainties. The paths it presents are but echoes of choices yet to be made." Tessa stepped forward, her curiosity unabated. "And how do we use it?" "The bond is forged through intent," Eller instructed, the light in its eyes dimming slightly as if bracing for what was to come. "Concentrate on what you wish to uncover, and the sphere will respond." I placed my hands upon the sphere, its surface cool and comforting, like the embrace of a distant star. Closing my eyes, I let my thoughts drift, seeking answers to questions that had long haunted my steps. The universe seemed to hold its breath, and then a whirlwind of images cascaded through my mind, sensations of times and places beyond my comprehension. I saw worlds being born, civilizations rising and falling, lifetimes flickering in and out of existence like dying stars. And then the visions narrowed, focusing on a single path: ours. The frigate relentless in its pursuit, the Ark awakening in the void, and the Luminaris, their fate entwined with ours. Choices loomed before me, each fraught with peril and possibility. I saw futures where we triumphed and others where we were dashed against the rocks of our ambition. And then one vision lingered, a figure shrouded in shadow, a presence both familiar and unknown. The sphere's glow winked out and I staggered back, breathless from the onslaught of visions. My crew watched, concern etched into every line of their faces. "Are you all right?" Tessa asked, her hand steadying my shoulder. "I'm fine," I reassured, though my mind reeled from the revelations. The sphere showed me too much. "What did you see?" Harper pressed, his voice a thread of concern. Us, I replied, the weight of what I'd witnessed still settling within me. Our futures, or what they might become, so many threads intertwined with the fate of others. Eller's gaze was unreadable, yet I sensed an understanding in its depths. The sphere does not dictate fate, merely illuminates the corridors through which you may walk. The revelations left an indelible mark, questions blooming in my mind. Who was the shadowy figure, the specter at the heart of our journey, and how did it connect to the choices we faced? Before I could delve deeper, the chamber shivered with a low, resonant hum, a warning that echoed through the stones. The sanctuary's peace had been disrupted. "Captain," came Sam's voice, urgent over the comms. "Sensors are picking up multiple contacts entering orbit. It's not just the frigate this time." My heart sank, the fragile hope of respite crumbling beneath a new threat. The stakes had risen yet again, the horizon fracturing beneath the weight of potential conflict. "We need to go," Harper urged, his instincts honed by years of navigating the unpredictable seas of space. Eller nodded, its form a steady beacon as it led us back toward the portal. "The sphere's revelation is but one piece of the puzzle. More awaits, but first, you must survive." We retraced our steps, urgency quickening our pace as we emerged from the sanctuary into the living tapestry of the planet. The Eclipse awaited, its silhouette a promise of escape beneath the canopy of stars. As we boarded, the reality of our situation crystallized. Multiple ships, each armed and undoubtedly hostile, lingered in orbit like wolves circling their prey. Harper took his place at the helm, his focus unwavering despite the odds stacked against us. The Eclipse roared to life, engines burning with renewed vigor as we broke free from the planet's embrace. The sky above blossomed with hostile intent, the ship's converging lick. The jaws of a cosmic trap. Amidst the chaos, Eller remained a constant presence, its silent strength a reminder that we were not alone. Together, we faced the coming storm, ready to chart a course through the fractured horizons that lay ahead. For in this infinite universe, where destinies are as mutable as the stars themselves, the only certainty was the journey and the choices that defined it. Part 6. Amidst the celestial crossroads. The Eclipse soared into the void, a fragile vessel of hope amidst the looming shadows of approaching ships. Harper's hands were steady on the controls, every maneuver calculated to evade the encircling predators. The silence on the bridge was a taut string, each crew member focused, aware of their role in the unfolding drama. Sam scanned frequencies, searching for a crack in the enemy's communications, while Tessa monitored the dwindling reserves of our shields, a lifeline growing perilously thin. Eller stood beside me, its radiant presence a beacon in the dim light. I glanced at it, seeking counsel in its ancient gaze. "Do you know who they are?" I asked, my voice low and urgent. The crystalline creature shimmered, the light within it shifting like the patterns of a nebula. "They are seekers of the sphere, drawn by its power. They will not relent while it remains in your possession." "The sphere?" Harper asked, glancing back with furrowed brows. "Why the sudden interest now?" "The revelation of potential attracts those who would mold fate to their will," Eller explained, its voice a soft cadence against the backdrop of alarms. "The sphere is a key to possibilities, both creation and destruction." We sliced between two cruisers, their weapons lighting the darkness in pursuit. The Eclipse vibrated with the strain, and I wondered how much more she could take. In the looming chaos, a thought sparked, a memory from the sphere's vision. The shadowed figure, the unknown element threading through our journey. "Harper, is there any way we can lose them?" My question came with the weight of necessity. His expression was grim, though a spark of determination lit his eyes. We need a distraction, something to throw them off. The idea crystallized, a long shot but perhaps our only chance. The nebula, I said, recalling its swirling mass from our earlier scans, a turbulent sea of gas and particulate riddled with magnetic storms, a place where sensors would be all but blind. A risky bet, Harper noted, yet the faintest edge of a grin played on his lips. But I like it. We angled toward the nebula, the ships tightening their formation in anticipation. The Eclipse skimmed the edges of the roiling mass, the hull rattling in protest as we plunged into the maelstrom. The universe outside twisted into a kaleidoscope of color and energy, a turbulent dance that threatened to tear us apart. "Shields are holding, but just barely," Tessa reported, her voice calm amidst the chaos. In the swirling tempest, the sensors blinked erratically, confused by the nebula's interference. The pursuing ships faltered, their targeting systems rendered useless in the magnetic storm. Sam leaned over her console, fingers flying as she manipulated the comms. "I'm broadcasting a decoy signal. Should keep them busy for a while." I nodded, heart pounding with the rush of adrenaline and hope. The nebula enveloped us, a veil of cosmic dust that shielded our escape. Beneath its cover, we slipped through the chaos, emerging into the tranquil expanse beyond. The ship was quiet, save for the low hum of systems slowly stabilizing. We had escaped, but the shadow of pursuit lingered, a reminder of the forces arrayed against us. "Nice flying, Harper," I said, letting out a long-held breath. "Just another day in the life," he replied with a casual shrug, though the relief was clear in his eyes. Eller's presence beside me was a steadying force, its gaze thoughtful. "The paths you weave are fraught with challenge, yet the threads hold firm." "We can't keep running," I acknowledged, the truth settling heavily in my chest. "Sooner or later, we'll need to confront whoever's after us." Tessa joined us, the light of determination in her eyes. "Then we need allies, someone who knows more about this sphere and its significance." "Agreed," I said, my thoughts turning to the sphere's revelations. The map it had shown contained more than just futures. It held connections, places where knowledge and power converged. "I have an idea," Sam spoke up, her gaze intense with gathered resolve. "There's a sector rumored to house a neutral station, Arcadia, a place of trade and diplomacy where factions lay down arms for mutual gain." Arcadia, the name carried with it a promise, a tether to a possibility we desperately needed. "Set a course," I instructed, feeling the seed of a plan taking root. As the Eclipse charted its path through the stars, the weight of our journey settled upon us once more, an adventure forged in the crucible of challenges, bound in the sinew of choice. Eller stood as our guide, and the sphere our enigmatic compass. The universe was a vast, uncharted expanse of fate and destiny, and though shadows reached for us from the cosmic depths, we pressed onward, ready to face whatever awaited at the celestial crossroads ahead. Part 7. Echoes of Arcadian Light. The journey to Arcadia was a kaleidoscope of shifting starfields and swirling nebulae, an odyssey through the quiet reaches of space where echoes of distant systems whispered secrets of the cosmos. The Eclipse sailed through it all, her engines a steady, reassuring hum beneath the distant song of the universe. With Eller by my side, its crystalline form a constant companion, I felt a strange sense of calm amidst the looming uncertainty. Arcadia loomed ahead, a station floating in space like an artificial comet, its surface shimmering with the glow of countless lights. The structure was a sprawling web of interconnected modules, a bastion of neutrality where even the most bitter rivals found common ground. Its reputation as a sanctuary for diplomats and traders was legendary, and now it offered us a lifeline. As we approached, the docking protocols guided us to an assigned berth, the station enveloping us in its protective embrace. The airlock cycled open with a hiss, and we stepped into the bustling heart of Arcadia, a veritable melting pot of species and cultures. The air was rich with the sense of exotic foods and the hum of lively conversation, a tapestry of life woven from the threads of countless worlds. Harper and Tessa flanked me as we navigated the crowds, Eller trailing behind, its otherworldly presence drawing curious glances. Sam had remained aboard the Eclipse to recalibrate our systems and monitor any unusual activity. "Feels like a festival in here," Harper remarked, taking in the sights with a grin. "Let's just hope we don't end up as the main event." Tessa elbowed him playfully, her eyes scanning the throng with a mixture of caution and intrigue. "We're here for answers, not a sideshow." Our path led us to the central atrium, an open expanse where traders hawked their wares and diplomats brokered deals over steaming cups of spiced tea. In the center stood a towering obelisk, its surface etched with the names of those who had forged peace in this sanctuary. "There's our contact," I observed, nodding toward a figure standing near the obelisk, cloaked in shadow yet exuding an air of quiet authority. A local facilitator, their role was to mediate transactions and provide information, often at a price. We approached cautiously, my instincts sharpened by years of navigating the delicate dance of diplomacy and deception. The facilitator turned, their eyes a deep, knowing gold that seemed to pierce through the facade we all wore. "You seek answers," the facilitator said, their voice smooth as starlight. "The sphere you carry has stirred whispers among those who watch the currents of possibility." "Then you know who's after us," I replied, my voice steady yet laced with the urgency of our plight. The facilitator nodded, glancing at Eller with a hint of recognition. "There are those who covet the power to shape destiny. The sphere of continuance is a beacon to them, one they would wield to bend reality to their will." Eller's presence seemed to amplify the gravity of the moment, its silence a testament to the depth of its understanding. "Can you help us?" Tessa asked, her gaze steady and resolute. "I can offer guidance," the facilitator replied, their eyes flicking to the obelisk. "In the archives you will find fragments of prophecy, warnings etched by those who foresaw the sphere's return." Our path was clear, a descent into the depths of Arcadia, where the archives held the knowledge we sought. The facilitator led us to a secure lift, the hum of its mechanisms a counterpoint to the thrum of tension that wove between us. The archives were a vast repository, a labyrinth of data crystals and holographic records that stretched as far as the eye could see. The caretaker of this domain, a wizened figure with eyes like molten silver, greeted us with a nod. "You seek the echoes of the sphere," the caretaker intoned, gesturing to a chamber lined with alcoves, each housing a record of the past. "Within these walls lies the legacy of those who sought to understand what you now hold." We entered the chamber, and Eller stepped forward, its presence lighting upon a particular alcove. The holographic display activated, casting the room in a soft glow as images and text coalesced in the air before us. The prophecy was woven from fragmented visions, glimpses of the sphere's influence rippling through time. It spoke of a convergence, a moment where paths would intersect and choices would shape the fate of countless worlds. Central to it all was a figure shrouded in shadow, the same presence I had seen in the sphere's vision, a harbinger of change. Eller's voice was a whisper, a thread connecting past and present. "This is the choice the sphere foretells, a juncture in the great tapestry of existence." The realization hit with the force of a solar storm. Our journey, the trials we faced, all led to this moment, a fulcrum upon which the balance of worlds would pivot. T. His stakes had never been higher, the responsibility never greater. The archives held more than prophecy, they contained coordinates, a location where the convergence was to occur. It was a place where energies flowed, a nexus of potential and peril. The choice lay before us, to seek out this convergence and face the shadow, or to turn away and risk the consequences of inaction. As we emerged from the archives, the weight of destiny settling upon our shoulders, I felt the stirrings of resolve. The path was fraught with danger, yet it was a journey we could not refuse. Eller's gaze met mine, an understanding passing between us, an unspoken vow to see this through to the end. For we were more than travelers, we were the weavers of fate, bound by the echoes of Arcadian light and the promise of what lay beyond. And so, with the knowledge of the archives as our guide, we prepared to set forth once more, into the heart of the unknown, where the echoes of the past would shape the future. Part 8: Convergence of Shadows. With Arcadia fading into the backdrop of distant stars, the Eclipse charted a course for the coordinates gleaned from the archives. The path took us through regions where the light of stars waned into the color of ghosts, casting long shadows across the bridge. There was a sense of momentum, an inexorable pull toward the convergence, where the destiny of countless worlds awaited judgment. Eller stood at my side, the ever-present glow of its form, a gentle reminder of the bond forged during our journey. Its silence was filled with an unspoken encouragement, an assurance that the path, though fraught with unknowns, was one we must take. As we drew closer, the space around us seemed to warp and shimmer, a curtain of energy folding back to reveal a sight that took my breath away. The convergence was marked by a colossal structure, a lattice of impossibly intricate design that shimmered with a soft luminescence. It floated like an astral cathedral, suspended within an iridescent nebula that pulsed with the rhythm of a cosmic heartbeat. "That's it then," Harper said, awe threading through his voice despite the tension that hung like a shroud. "Looks like a place where legends are born." "Or where they end," Tessa added, her eyes reflecting the ethereal light of the nebula. The approach was cautious, the Eclipse edging toward the structure with a reverence born of necessity. As we neared, a tingling sensation crawled over my skin, the air charged with potential, the very fabric of reality humming with expectation. Docking paths aligned, and we made our way to the gateway of the structure. The interior was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, each more elaborate than the last, adorned with shifting patterns that seemed to watch us as we passed. There was a presence here, a tapestry of consciousness woven into the walls themselves. Eller moved with purpose, leading us through the maze of history until we reached a central chamber, an amphitheater bathed in soft light. In its center stood a dais, and upon it rested a crystalline construct that mirrored Eller's own form. This was a place of decision, a nexus where the paths of many had converged. "The sphere of continuance," Eller said, gesturing toward the construct. "Its purpose is fulfilled when choice is made and paths are set in motion." I approached the dais, the weight of responsibility settling upon my shoulders with a familiar gravity. The sphere's surface shimmered, reflecting the myriad futures that hung in delicate balance, each waiting to be shaped by our intent. "We've come all this way," Sam said, her voice steady and clear amidst the echoes of the chamber. "We need to understand what we're truly facing." The construct glowed, casting shifting patterns of light across the chamber. As I placed my hands upon it, the air around us thickened, alive with the resonance of potential. The visions returned, a tumult of sights and sounds that spiraled through my consciousness. I saw worlds blossoming with life, their fates woven in the loom of time. I saw civilizations reaching for the stars, driven by hope and the quest for understanding. But alongside these were darker threads, a shadow stretching across the tapestry, threatening to unravel all. The figure from my visions emerged, no longer a distant silhouette but a form of fluid darkness, its eyes twin voids that watched from the abyss. It was an embodiment of entropy, the chaos that sought to consume order and hope. Eller's voice cut through the vision, a beacon of clarity. The shadow is a manifestation of imbalance, drawn to the power of the sphere. To confront it is to confront the darker aspects of existence. "What do we do?" Harper asked, the urgency in his question palpable. "The balance must be maintained," Eller replied, its form resonating with a light that pushed back the darkness. "The sphere's power must be channeled not to control, but to harmonize." The realization struck like a flash of lightning in the dark. A convergence was not a battleground, but a point of connection where understanding and harmony could dispel chaos. I focused on the construct, willing the balance into being. The fractal lattice of futures began to shift, aligning with a new order, one forged through the unbreakable bonds of trust and unity. The shadow recoiled, its form dissipating like mist before the dawn. As the chamber settled into the embrace of light, I felt a profound sense of calm, the echoes of possibility whispering of a future unbound by fear. Eller's form shimmered with warmth, its gaze filled with an ancient wisdom that spoke of journeys yet to come. The realization that we had not merely survived but had transformed the course of our fate filled the air with a quiet joy. We had faced the convergence, and in doing so, had woven a new thread into the tapestry of existence. As we prepared to depart, the structure around us pulsed with a luminous farewell, its patterns dancing with the rhythm of creation. The eclipse awaited, ready to carry us onward into the boundless frontier of the stars. For though the journey had brought us to the brink of despair, it had also unveiled the depth of our resolve and the strength of our unity. Together, we would continue to explore the wonders and challenges of the universe, guided by the echoes of light and the promise of the horizon. Part 9: The Unseen Currents. The eclipse glided away from the convergent structure, leaving behind the radiant threads of destiny we had woven. The ship felt different now, as if the very essence of our journey had been imprinted upon its hull. My crew and I gathered in the softly lit control room, each of us processing the weight of what had just transpired. "Feels like we just walked out of a dream," Harper said, breaking the silence. His hands rested on the console, the expertise of countless flight hours evident in his relaxed posture. His gaze met mine, an unspoken question hovering between us. I nodded, understanding the unvoiced query. We faced what we came for, but the universe doesn't stop moving just because we found our path. Tessa leaned back in her chair, a thoughtful expression on her face. "What do you think happens now? We've set the balance, but there's always more beneath the surface." Sam chimed in from her station, her voice carrying the inquisitiveness of a born explorer. "I've been running scans, and there's something odd about our current sector. A strange anomaly is registering on the fringes, something that didn't show up on our initial scans." Eller, ever the sentinel of luminescent wisdom, joined us, its presence grounding and calm. The universe often hides its greatest mysteries in the shadows of what is unseen. Intrigued, I turned to Sam. "What kind of anomaly?" "I'm not sure," she admitted, frowning slightly as she manipulated the readouts. "It's fluctuating, like a ripple in time and space, but localized. Could be a natural phenomenon or something more." Harper's eyes lit up with a familiar spark of mischief. "Sounds like an adventure to me." I shared a brief smile with him, appreciating his ability to find excitement amid uncertainty. Let's check it out. Keep the engines ready in case things get interesting. The Eclipse shifted course, heading into the unknown as we delved deeper into the sector. The viewscreen displayed a swirling miasma of colors, the anomaly casting a surreal glow that danced across our faces. As we approached, the ship's sensors pinged with data, feeding the information to our terminals. My curiosity piqued further when the anomaly unveiled a structure within, a massive, organic formation, pulsating with energy. "Looks like some kind of living construct," Tessa observed, her eyes scanning the readout. "Not quite like anything we've seen before." The construct loomed before us, reminiscent of a colossal coral reef, alive with the light and sound of an alien choir. The closer we drew, the more it felt like a living entity, breathing in rhythm with the universe. Eller's form shimmered with recognition. A nexus of life formed in the cradles of distant stars. It is a sanctuary, a place of communion for cosmic beings. "Any chance they're friendly?" Harper joked, though the awe in his voice was genuine. I instructed the crew to maintain a cautious distance. "Let's see if we can make contact. Eller, any guidance on how to approach?" Eller nodded, stepping forward to interface with the ship's communication systems. Its crystalline form pulsed with light, a symphony of signals reaching out into the depths of the construct. The response was immediate, a harmonious vibration that resonated through the Eclipse, a song of greeting and invitation. The viewscreen shifted, revealing a glimpse into the heart of the construct. There, in a chamber of collected stardust and celestial harmonies, an entity awaited. It was unlike anything we'd encountered, a vast amalgam of light and shadow, its presence both ancient and newborn. "Welcome, travelers," the entity's voice echoed, resonant and melodic, filling the bridge with an unearthly warmth. "You have set the balance, and we greet you as kin." The words stirred something within me, a recognition of kinship, a connection forged not through blood but through shared purpose. "Who are you?" I asked, the question carrying the weight of our shared journeys. "We are the emissaries," the entity replied, its form shifting like a dream unwinding. "Guardians of the unseen currents that weave the fabric of reality. You have touched upon the threads and now stand at the crossroads of understanding." The revelation settled over us, a gentle tide that swept away the boundaries of known and unknown. My crew stood in silent contemplation, each of us piecing together the web of experiences that had led us here. "What do the emissaries desire of us?" Tessa inquired, her voice steady amidst the hum of potential. "To learn as you have learned," the emissary intoned, its presence glowing with an internal light. "To witness and to teach, to share the knowledge of balance with those who seek it." The future stretched before us, an unwritten tapestry ready to be woven. We had embarked on this journey seeking answers, and had found instead a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe. As the emissary offer, its wisdom, the construct around us pulsed with the rhythm of creation. We stood at the confluence of paths, the horizon unfurling with promise and adventure. Together, the Eclipse and her crew embraced the unseen currents, ready to chart the vast expanse of the cosmos with newfound purpose. In unity, we forged ahead, explorers in a universe rich with mystery and wonder, guided by the shimmering threads of possibility that danced in the eternal night. Part 10: Riddles of the Starlit Veil. Our encounter with the emissaries left a lingering sense of wonder that clung to the corridors of the Eclipse like a fine mist. We had been touched by an ancient understanding, an invitation to explore the cosmos with eyes anew. As we left the living construct behind, The construct's harmonious farewell echoed in our hearts, a cosmic song that resonated with the promise of further mysteries. The Eclipse coursed through the starlit tapestry, a trailblazer among the celestial currents, carrying us toward our next destination, a system rumored to hold secrets as old as the stars themselves. Our path was set by the coordinates provided by the emissaries, an uncharted region known as the Veil of Reverie. Harper piloted with ease, his confidence a sturdy anchor amidst the shifting tides of infinity. "Do you think we'll find anything other than more secrets?" he mused, the corners of his mouth quirking in a familiar half-smile. "Secrets are just answers we haven't unraveled yet," Tessa replied, her fingers deftly calibrating the ship's sensors for the journey ahead. As we approached the veil, the stars seemed to shimmer with a peculiar intensity, their light casting intricate patterns across the bridge. The veil hung before us, a nebulous expanse of swirling colors, a cascade of luminescence that captivated the senses. "Anything yet?" I asked Sam, who was bent intently over her console. "Reading a faint signal," she replied, adjusting the scanners to fine-tune the reception. "It's a pulse, almost like a heartbeat, but it's artificial. Could be a beacon or a message." We moved cautiously toward the source, the Eclipse gliding into the heart of the veil where the allure of the unknown beckoned. The signal grew stronger, guiding us to a derelict ship, its hull a skeletal remnant of bygone glory. It drifted aimlessly, a ghost ship adrift among the stars. "Looks like it's been here for centuries," Tessa observed, eyes tracing the vessel's time-worn lines. "We should investigate," I decided, curiosity and caution balancing on the razor's edge. "There might be something aboard that explains the signal." With precision, Harper docked the Eclipse alongside the derelict, our ship settling into place with a muted thud. We donned our suits, the familiar ritual grounding us as we prepared to venture into the silent relic. The airlock cycled open, granting us passage into the ship's interior. A hush enveloped us, the quietude almost palpable as we stepped through the threshold into its history-entombed corridors. The walls bore the scars of decay, yet glimmers of technology remained, whispering of the ship's past purpose. Eller's presence was a comforting glow in the dim light, its silent companionship a steadying force. We made our way deeper into the vessel, the signal growing stronger with each step until we reached what must have once been the control room. At the heart of the chamber lay a console, its surface covered in a thin layer of dust, yet still active, displaying a holographic interface that flickered with ghostly light. The signal pulsed from here, the artificial heartbeat of a long-slumbering mystery. "Looks like a message," Sam said, brushing her fingers over the display. Her eyes widened as the hologram resolved into clarity, revealing an ancient recording of a figure, its form humanoid yet cloaked in the technology of an advanced civilization. The figure spoke, its voice a blend of urgency and resignation that transcended time. "To those who find this, know that we are the Watchers, custodians of the veil. Our task is to observe, to protect the balance. But now we face an unraveling, a threat that transcends the boundaries of the known." The recording continued, outlining a cosmic riddle, an anomaly beyond the veil where time and space twisted into impossible shapes. It spoke of a convergence point where realities overlapped, birthing chaos from order. "The prophecy foretold by the sphere of continuance," Eller mused, its light intensifying as it absorbed the implications. The Watchers sought to guard against this very convergence. Harper leaned against the console, his brow furrowed. If this convergence is as bad as it sounds, why didn't they stop it? "The Watchers were here to observe, not to interfere," Tessa deduced, her expression contemplative. Their role was to bear witness, to preserve knowledge for those who would act. The realization settled over us, a heavy mantle of responsibility. We were part of a larger narrative, woven into the tapestry of a galactic struggle that spanned eons. The choices before us were clear: delve deeper into the riddle of the veil, confront the convergence, and protect the delicate balance we had come to value above all. As we shared a look of shared determination, the path ahead crystallized. For within the veil lay the answers we sought and the challenges we must face, a labyrinth of cosmic design waiting foe. Are those brave enough to navigate its twists and turns? With the Watcher's message as our guide, we returned to the Eclipse, our hearts steeled for the trials that awaited. Together, we would venture into the unknown, ready to unravel the riddles of the starlit veil and discover the truths hidden within its embrace.